Greetings, vloggers, bloggers, followers, and potters. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty with the second half of this week's vlog. This week, I did not mention in the first half. You can refer to it as you want to, but today we are showing the World Heritage Site Falling Water, which is in my backyard, sort of sorts. I've been there a couple of times. I've enjoyed it very much. It's a world-designed house over a waterfall by Frank Lloyd Wright. He's a well-renowned architect. And I will include information about that site and the background on the description of this and the other half of the vlog that I did this weekend. Also, I want to give a shout out to thanks for everything going on, and it's good. All right. So today I thought with our other half of the vlog that we discussed about consent, not so much consent per se, but we talked about, the wants, needs, and talents of an autistic friendship or relationship. We want to talk about, and I've shared somewhat about consent as well, but today we're going to talk about why you should teach an autistic person the word no. Because for me, as being autistic, I was always given choices. And, sometimes we don't know when people are meaning to get what they want, or be oppressive, or be obsessive. Sometimes we also don't know when they're trying to get what they want and not consider the needs of our one. And I just want to make sure that you know that it's not just us getting our way, because for a long time growing up, I was told that getting things, that I was a spoiled little brat, and I always wanted things my way. When we're not saying no because we want to be that spoiled little brat, not at all. We're not throwing a temper tantrum, or what we're doing is saying no because we know we cannot withstand the pressure that is being delivered to us by doing what you think, or what you predict or project that we can do, when it will result in a very tragic or very rough sensory overload, and then eventually possibly meltdown that could be transpired as a tantrum. And make us look embarrassed around others. And I've been there and I've done it, and I've realized it, especially in the last few months, that I need to do things in my life to make sure that I'm not overburdening myself. And I've been saying no to things eventually at times, but it's standing your ground. And I think as an autistic man in his 30s, such as myself, I think standing your ground and saying no to something is a prouder step, not because you're a little baby, or you don't want things to not, you want things to go your way. It's just that you have standards and decency and rights. And if you don't feel comfortable having things the way you want, that are uncomfortable for you, or cause you pain, or cause you sensory overload, then you shouldn't have to have them. And that's just something, we don't get a choice. We don't often, autistic children don't get a choice. They don't get to express how we feel, or get to say no. And especially, we're just always told as children to comply. And I know that's so 1950s, 1960s way of bringing up children. And my parents were from that era, and they just did what they were told, and that was how I was brought up. But for me, it was, if I didn't want to do that, they did comply in some pieces of it, but it was that sometimes when I caused issues, or had sensory overload, or went into meltdown, it was, well, he's being a little brat and he's not being well. And but you know we get them. But sometimes, as today now, people get, neurotypical children get to follow the same set of rules and say no. But autistic, you just get choices. If they want to read a book, it's placed in front of them, and but see, some people, when you're when you're neurotypical, you don't get to say yes. You don't get to say no. But that's the one thing you need to know, is when you don't feel comfortable, you need to say no to something. You have to stand your ground. You have to get that courage. If something doesn't feel right, if something doesn't feel comfortable, you have to opt out. You have to say no. But we're made to comply when we're grown up because they want us to do things and teach us things, but it can be harmful on us too. Um, sometimes as if you're especially non-speaking, it can be harder because you're just given choices and you have to follow through because that's what you're told. Um, it's a very narrow mindset. And if you can't communicate well, or if you can't talk well when you're autistic, it complexes the problem more. But I should advise that everybody should be at least taught the word no for their rights and health and safety first and foremost. It's important to teach them to say no. And there's a quote I want to share with you by Sparrow Rose Jones, who is an autistic adult. I want you to teach your children to say no, and I want them to know how to mean it and back it up when they say it. I want you to teach your children to value themselves. And that's so true in this world. I know this world has gone, a little per se, but it's important that we value ourselves. And that was where I was having trouble. I was having trouble valuing myself and setting my standards too low. And when, one day I woke up and I said, I don't have to lower these standards. I don't have to get this low. I can say no and be the man that I want to be and be the person that I want to be. I don't have to succumb to lower levels of expectations. I shouldn't have to lower my expectations. So that's very important. If you don't feel comfortable or you don't feel easy or something, you must say no. If we don't, it opens up, we're not teaching somebody to say no, we're opening up problems. People will take advantage of them. And it's especially dangerous for the female sex. If girls aren't taught to say no, they're opening themselves to sexual abuse. And likely the same thing can happen for men too. And, some of us, I've known some to be in situations of that nature where, they don't say no and, they're violated and such. It's dangerous for you have, even boys and men, they have to say no. You have to learn how to say no. And when no is no, you just have to understand how the opposing party has to back. You have to fight your fight with the opposing party and say no. And, it's not that we just, and I have to rehash this. I cannot believe at the age of 36, I still have to rehash that it's not us being a spoiled little brat that many people think we want to be. But it's important to know that we're not being spoiled little brat. We don't feel comfortable doing it. We don't feel that our health, we feel that we're going to be overstimulated or oversensoried or something. You need to learn how to back it up. You need, if a child is non-speaking, have a no card, or communication, have the no card ready at the go. It's very important. It's very important because everybody has rights, and sometimes those that aren't able to speak or vocalize them or communicate them in some way are trampled over, and it just completes it's just a horrible thing. It's just very horrible. So enough of that rant. I just want to thank you for listening to that. But it is very important to say no. I just want to reharp on that. It's just very, very. It's just very, very. You can't give it, and like as I was supporting autistics, you can't always give in. You have to learn to say no, so we too can learn what it's like to say no and to respect boundaries. And that is a whole nother thing we'll get into. But it's just what it is. So, all right, I thank you for listening this week. As always, be sure to give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you want. Be sure to tap that notification bell for more notifications. Also, if you want to subscribe to my channel, please click the subscribe button. Be sure to follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dustin's Dynasty, on the web at DustinsDynastyUSA.com, on Pinterest and TikTok at Dustin's Dynasty ASD, And I stream this vlog and many of the other blog posts that I write every week on many podcast platforms, and that is including Spotify. I thank you all for listening to my little rant about saying no and the importance of it, and have a good week.